What's going on, everyone? So, the Lakers have a bit of a dilemma, right? Who are they going to start? How are they going to start it? Obviously, I'm sure that there are going to be some training camp wars, right? Some training camp battles. And Christian Wood believes that one, he's going to have a big role, and two, that he's going to have the opportunity to start. And we've gotten conflicting reports. We've gotten some reports that say, Rui Hachimura, that's who they're going to start. Some reports have said, Christian Wood, he believes he's going to start. He was told he has the potential to start. And I do believe that the Lakers told him, like, hey, we're going to give everyone a fair chance. Everyone's going to have a fair opportunity. You've heard the talks about, Gabe Vincent versus D'Angelo Russell, right? Like, there are definitely going to be camp matchups that I'm excited for, that I think that there'll be good competitive nature. And we'll see, who ends up starting. But also, I could see Darvin Ham, especially early on, kind of playing with different configurations and kind of seeing like, okay, well, how does it look with Jackson Hayes and AD? How does it start, or how does it look with Christian Wood and AD, right? But the other big thing too, that I don't know how Rui Hachimura starts if Anthony Davis really is gung-ho and like adamant about playing the four, right? Like if he doesn't want to play the five, then that means you're going to have to play a five alongside AD regularly. Now, is AD open to starting at the five, playing, 5 minutes or whatever, and then shifting over to the four, and then maybe closing games at the five? That's something he's open to, sure. But the way the reports sound is that AD doesn't really want to play the five much, if at all, during the regular season. Come playoffs, he gets it. He's all in. He's got to do what's best to try to win an NBA championship. But if he doesn't have to play the five at all this season, he's not going to play the five at all this season. So do you play Christian Wood? But then the thing is like with LeBron, do you really want LeBron James having to chase around these younger, quicker, twitchier, just forwards, right? Like at least at the four, he can kind of play scout. Like most fours in this league aren't like dead eye shooters, so you don't have to worry about like them just lighting you up. He can we see him at times and he's just doesn't even put a hand up or try to contest. He's just conserving his energy out there, which is good. And you want that over a full season, right? My guess is LeBron plays 65 games so he could, stack up more accolades. But even at 65 games, you really want him chasing around all these young guys, right? So if you have Anthony Davis play the four, right, and you have the four, and then you have LeBron play the three, like, yeah, you could play Christian Wood at the five, or you could go with Jackson Hayes, but also you're taking away a lot of minutes at the three and the four, because Anthony Davis is probably going to play 30 minutes a game. And if all 30 of his minutes, or let's say 25 of those minutes are at the four, then there's not a lot of room for him to play the four. And then especially if LeBron takes up some four, right, or Wood takes up some four, there's basically all your 4 minutes. And then LeBron's probably playing 30 to 32 minutes a game. So there's 30 to 32 minutes at the three. It becomes tough. So how do you make it work? Well, what if you played Christian Wood some at the three? Now, obviously, you're not going to play him a ton at the three, but I do think Christian Wood could make sense at the three. And I do think that a good sort of template of the success he could have at the three would be Lauri Markkanen, right? So Lauri Markkanen actually had an entire season where he played the three, and that was with Cleveland, not last year, but the year prior. He started 61 games, he played 61 games, played 30 minutes, and he started at the small forward position. Utah, they played him at the three a lot last year. And yes, he's primarily been a power forward, but he's a guy that's been able to play the three. And he's been able to do it very effectively because of his ability to shoot the three ball, right? He can knock down the three ball. Like last year, he was 39% from three. And that was on 7.7 attempts, right? And you look at Christian Wood, he's a guy that shoots 38% from three. And he's got, he's 6'9", 6'10" size with 7'3" wingspan. You could really add some length. You could even run sets out there with Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, and Anthony Davis if you could play them at the three and get different looks. Again, it's about experimentation trying some things, testing some things, and seeing what works. But the other thing too about Christian Wood is he struggles at times against the bigger guys, right? Because he's not very stocky, right? Like Rui Hachimura, for example. Rui Hachimura is a little shorter, but he's got a lower center of gravity. He's just bulkier and stronger and sturdier. And we saw him have success against guys like Karl Anthony Towns, even Jokic to an extent, right? Because he's so physical, so strong. Where Christian Wood, he kind of struggles against that size. So playing him at the 5, he's probably going to get bullied quite a bit, right? Like against certain centers. Not all centers, but like, do you want to throw Christian Wood on Jokic? Probably not. He's probably getting eaten alive. Do you want to throw him on Embiid? Probably not. He's probably getting eaten alive, right? But you could utilize him at the 3 and use his length and use his size, and he's actually been very good in that regard. He's actually very good guarding smaller guys and basically giving space, using that length, that 7'3" wingspan, to basically be able to close out in time and block shots and also just disrupt, right? And he's pretty quick. He can move his feet well, so he's able to kind of stay in front of those guys. And also, Jackson Hayes is actually he's one of the better pick and roll defensive bigs in the league also. So you could even run units to kind of try to, get guys minutes and try to get guys involved and take Christian Wood out of the 4 spot, not have to have him play so much. So you can run Wood, so let's say you start Wood at the 5, right? You give him, say, 10 minutes at the 5, 5 minutes at the 4, 5 minutes at the 3, and then AD gets 5 minutes at the 5 to close the game, and then you have 15 minutes at the 4, and then some nights center is a little more, some nights power forward is a little more, and that gets him to his 30 minutes, right? And that's kind of how you budget that. And then LeBron, he's kind of playing positionless, right? Maybe sometimes he's lining up at the 2, but you're running a unit to where, just for paper's sake, he's the 2. I've talked about that a lot because I think that's the only way I think this really works is you basically run positionless basketball, right? Because you have so many guys that are very versatile, and even guys Cam Reddish and Taurean Prince, they're capable of playing the 2. Right? Because their role, whether they're the 3 or the 4, is going to be the same as the 2. Guard the guy in front of you and hit wide open 3-point shots. Right? It's basically the same thing. So, in that same aspect, you could do the same thing with basically everybody. Right? You could have Wood play the 3. Again, he's actually really good perimeter defender and guarding smaller players. Staying in front of Twitchers guys. He'd be able to use his size and his length to really disrupt guys. You could have basically a huge lineup if you wanted to. And he shoots 38% from 3, so you're not losing 3-point percentage. He's one of the best 3-point shooters on the Lakers. Right? So you could have him at the 3. You could even do something where you have him at the 3, LeBron at the 4, AD at the 5, and then go Reeves at the 2, and Vincent at the 1 or something like that, right? Or you could go, because you have LeBron on the court and his ability to kind of play make out of the post, you could go with maybe Taurean Prince, LeBron, Christian Wood, and Anthony Davis or Gabe Vincent, or Jackson Hayes, and then maybe Jared Vanderbilt or something like that to add some more defense. Right? It's not something I would want to see heavily. I mean, unless it's just it works great, but it's not something I really want to see heavily. But I look at this and I'm just how do you make this work? Right? Again, you can play Taurean Prince at the 2. Rui Hachimura slimmed down a bit. So is he going to be able to play the 3 more? Probably. But you still need to get minutes for Jared Vanderbilt because he's your best defensive guy next to Anthony Davis, best on-ball defensive guy. Right? Best point of attack defender, all of that. And, Rui also is probably best suited at the 4. Unless he fixes his lateral quickness. So it's just like, how do you make this fit? Well, it's like, again, you kind of just go positionless basketball and you put guys in positions that they usually don't play, but are capable of playing it. And I look at Christian Wood as a guy that is capable of playing the three potentially. Again, like Lauri Markkanen is a great example. And Christian Wood defensively matches up pretty well when you go look at the numbers. So I don't know. I don't think it's the worst idea. It's something that's interesting. It's something that I've kind of touched on in videos, but I was like, I think this is something that's worth a full video because, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion. So I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think, yeah, like, experiment, take a shot, see how it looks? Do you think, no way, no how? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear it.